cycle life. So once you completely discharge and then charge it up, it's called a full cycle. Tesla claims 1500. A normal cell would survive 1000 to 1500 cycles depending on use. So if you rough use the battery, or if the battery is really badly designed, it is not going to survive that long. But if it's a well engineered battery and it is used very carefully, it is supposed to last 1500 cycles. Now imagine you have a short range model and a long range model, same vehicle, same conditions. So let's say you do a trip of 1000 kilometers with a short range battery and a long range battery. So the long range battery charged 3.3 times, while the short range model, which has let's say 200 kilometers range, will need to be charged 5 times for the same distance. And every cycle actually counts because cells can only cycle so many times. So 1000 kilometers is already giving you 5 cycles, and which is higher than the long range model. As you drive for 10,000 kilometer, 20,000 kilometer, this difference will continue to increase. The battery will complete its total cycles much before the long range model. There is a lower and upper limit that we talked about in terms of the buffer that we provide. If you are using a short range battery, chances of you hitting these buffers are very high, because you will most probably be tensed about whether you will reach the location or not. So you charge up completely every day, and when you come back, you have very low charge. As an example, imagine your vehicle has a 100-kilometer range and you have a 90-kilometer drive every day. So in this scenario, when you're leaving from home, you have to charge your vehicle completely. You are charging it to 100%. Again, 100% charging is not good for the electric vehicle. And then you're driving 90 kilometers. By the time you get home, you're at 10%. And if you're unlucky, you have to do some additional distance, you're coming home with less than 10%, which is again bad for the vehicle. At the same time, if you have a long range vehicle with like 200 kilometers of range, this whole scenario changes. You don't have to charge it completely, and by the time you're getting home, it is not completely discharged. If you have a long range battery, it kind of removes a lot of tension from your mind, whether you will reach the destination, whether the charger on the route is working or not, whether your charger at home is working or not. These tensions will slowly get removed. If you are the kind of person who has very low usage, I suggest you don't buy an electric vehicle. Let me tell you why. One is the cost offset. Imagine you're comparing between a Punch and a Punch EV. You're paying an additional amount to get an EV, and you basically need to offset this by using the electric vehicle for a long time, or else the money that you paid upfront will be a complete waste. You could have used the same amount as your fuel and it would have made no difference. Another thing is the CO2 offset. Electric vehicles generate more CO2 emissions while being produced compared to ICE engine vehicles. To offset this, it takes almost 25,000 kilometers. So once you buy the electric vehicle, you have to drive 25,000 kilometers, and by that time, the pollution of an ICE engine vehicle and the pollution from an electric vehicle becomes identical. Post this point, every kilometer that the electric vehicle is driving, it is actually reducing the pollution. If you already have a vehicle in good condition, my suggestion is to keep using it. That is the best thing that you can do. Imagine you are an NRI, you are coming to India once every, let's say, 2 years or so, staying here for a month. Please don't buy an electric vehicle for that purpose, because once you leave this vehicle here, it will undergo a process called self-discharge. If you have used any ICE engine vehicles, you might know by not switching on the vehicle, the battery slowly drains out. The same thing happens with electric vehicles. The battery will naturally lose charge over time even when not in use. If the battery is left idle for extended periods, it can discharge to very low levels, which can harm the battery's long-term health. If you discharge to such very low levels, it is called a deep discharge. And if a battery reaches deep discharge, chances are there are permanent damage that is happening to the cells. There is even chances that you may not be able to recover the batteries from that state. And also, if you don't use the batteries at all, battery's capability to hold the energy, the charge retention capabilities also reduces. The opposite spectrum of it is also dangerous. So if you have an electric vehicle and you keep it always charged at 100% because you think that keeping it 100% is the most safe way to do it, it is actually going to kill your batteries really fast. Battery management systems have issues calibrating if a vehicle has been not used or not charged for a very, very long time. And this could lead to further complications. See you in the next video. Bye.